Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another video. I wasn't expecting to do this, but I just fancied it. I thought I've got something interesting to discuss, something that I wanted to make a video about, but I kind of forgot to. And I was reminded of it today, so I thought, why not just share it with you guys because I think it's kind of important. I will get into the topic. It's basically the importance of obviously your cash flow. And I don't say that in like a general sense. I'm actually saying that in a very specific sense. You want to make sure that your cash flow is kind of looked after, because something interesting happened to me, which I will share with you guys. And we're all at risk of this. This is not like an alarmist video. This is actually something that's happened to me, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I'll say a few hellos. We've got Damien, DB Resales. We've got Tori, Chris Tyler. Tommy has popped in. Thank you for popping in, Tommy. Leanne as well. Thank you for popping in, Leanne. Pete's Retro Collectibles. Now, this came to my mind because recently we've had a return case opened against us. A customer bought an item. It was an action figure for £40. And they, as soon as we'd shipped it out, or as soon as they'd received it, I think, they opened a case, because I think it got to them the next day or the day after. A customer opened a case saying, unfortunately, it was someone else purchasing this on my account. I don't want it. I'm really sorry. And they opened a return case, which is fine. It happens. It's one of the things we've all dealt with. Now, under eBay's managed payments, obviously, the buyer has like about 2 working weeks, to return the item. And during that time, on eBay's managed payment system, eBay will place a hold on your funds. So £40 was held, which is fine, until the buyer sends back. Now, this buyer actually had no intention in the end of returning the item. So we went like the whole, two odd weeks plus, with our 40 quid on hold, until I was in the position to contact eBay and say, look, you gave him till the 15th, and it's now the 21st. It was yesterday or today. I might have even done it, and the buyer still hasn't returned the action figure. Clearly, they're not going to return it. So eBay obviously then closed the case in my favor, didn't refund the buyer, and obviously released my funds. Now, previously, had I been with PayPal, my funds would have been available to me, so that's a cool thing, and that wouldn't have been an issue. PayPal didn't hold your funds once your account had been proven. And I've had my PayPal account for many, many years. Obviously, we've had thousands of transactions go through on that account, and so that was cool. And on eBay payments, unfortunately, there's this hold system, and it's kind of frustrating if someone decides that they want to just buy something, then return it, and then not return it, because then you're going to be like 2 weeks without product and without funds. Obviously, if they return the item, you have to give the money back, which is fine, but at least you get your product back. But in this particular scenario, for a couple of weeks, you don't have the money, and obviously you don't have the product, and you've got this case open. Now, that's not really the thing I'm talking about, though. What I'm talking about is actually, it started off with PayPal. Now, like I said, I've had a PayPal account for many, many years. Thousands and thousands of transactions have gone through on it. I had a PayPal working capital, a number of PayPal working capital loans, which all went paid, automatically through the sales we had. PayPal have obviously got our sales history. We've had no issues. Very, no issues in terms of paying them their fees or whatever. All that jazz is good. So I had a pretty good account with them. Now, obviously, since eBay's managed payment system came along, PayPal is something that we hadn't really used. We were just paying back the working capital that we had. I think we've got like £200 left to pay on it, and then that's done, and that's taken out automatically. But we're not using PayPal to process our sales. Now, this is interesting because I was using PayPal on our website. So if you purchase something on our website, onlycoolstuff.co.uk, link is in the description. If you did purchase something on our website previously, we were still using PayPal for those payments. And just recently, I actually had a customer buy £100 worth of action figures from our website, and they paid via PayPal. And that sale went through fine, and I was able to transfer the money out of PayPal into my account immediately. And that's important. Never leave your money in with these guys, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And out of the blue, literally out of the blue, I received an email, and I'm going to share with you guys what that email said right now. We've added a payment reserve to your account. This is literally what I got. It was so sketchy that I actually had to check whether it was phishing or whether it was one of those fraudulent emails, because I was like, I don't understand why this would happen. They just added a payment reserve on the account out of the blue. Now, obviously, we're not using them to process payments that much. We were using them on our website, but when this happened, we very quickly removed PayPal as our payment processors, and we're now using SumUp. But the same thing could happen to me on SumUp. Now, a payment reserve is to cover them against potential losses or eventualities. So, for example, if you get a chargeback. So, for example, my customer that purchased £100 worth of toys from our website, they've had the items delivered. Now, in a couple of months, if they decided to do a credit card chargeback or something and claim that they didn't make the purchase, and their credit card company gives them their money back, the credit card company will then come to PayPal to get their money. Now, obviously, if I've removed all the funds from it, they can't get their money. They can't get their money without like my permission, as it were. They'd have to tell me that, hey, there's been a chargeback. Can you pay it? So to cover themselves against that, which doesn't happen, bear in mind. I mean, in all the years of trading, all the thousands and thousands of transactions, we've had, I can't actually remember having more than one chargeback case, and it was for a very small amount as well. It's for a very small amount. Now, I don't know how PayPal worked this out, but PayPal reckon that we need to have a reserve on our PayPal account for $865, as you can see in that email. $865 is, what is that, about 650 quid? When even if they base it as they say, like on your account, etc., we've never had anything like that. Even in returns, forget chargebacks, we've never even had returns for that amount, like in one, ever. Like, that's a huge amount of cash. So now PayPal are saying, in order for us, as you can, if you read that email, I don't know how clear it is, but what they're actually saying is every sale that we now get, they're going to keep all of that money until we have the equivalent of $865. So if I was to take sales via PayPal now, all the money that goes into the PayPal account for the next $865, I would not have access to, and at their discretion. And I would only then get access to any funds after that $865, because they want to keep that $865 in case of chargebacks. Now, I don't know what kind of history they're looking at, or what kind of situation they're looking at where they think that's how much I need. But that's kind of ridiculous, I think. It's quite a high amount, and is obviously put me off using... it put me off using them, because I was using them as a payment processor. But to be honest, SumUp is actually cheaper as well, so it makes sense to switch to SumUp. But I hadn't activated like the remote payment from them for ages, so I was lazy and we were just using PayPal. But as soon as this email came through, I switched to SumUp. However, the same thing could happen to me on SumUp, and they've now put this reserve. Now this is where it gets even more interesting. This is where it gets more interesting, because a lot of you guys will obviously say, that's irrelevant to me, because obviously I don't actually use PayPal anymore. Thank God we're not using PayPal anymore. But it's let me have a look. It's actually something that you do need to be aware of, because reserves are actually in your terms and conditions as well. Just so you know, just so you know, I will show you on the eBay website. This is the terms and conditions section of managed payments on eBay. So eBay have now got that very same right. If you actually look here, using managed payments, holds and reserves, there we go. In order to manage risk or secure your obligations under these payment terms of use, we reserve the right at our reasonable discretion to require that you maintain a minimum reserve of transaction proceeds not available for disbursement in the form of a fixed or rolling reserve as a means of security. We will notify you of any reserves we require of you. Depending on your performance and risk associated with your use of managed payments, a reserve may be raised, lowered, or removed at any time. If required by law, we will give you prior notice of such changes. I'm guessing it's not required by law because PayPal were able to put the reserve on our account instantly. Like they emailed me that they've put a reserve on the account. I logged into my PayPal account and there was a reserve on my account. So any payments I now take through PayPal up to $860 I haven't got. But bear in mind, managed payments has got the same thing in its terms and conditions. It's not something, I suppose, to be like worried about, but it is definitely something to be aware about because no one knows why this happens. No one knows why this happens. And at any time, eBay can decide for any reason. We've all been there. We've all heard the stories where decisions are made which are not easy. It's I don't know. It's they make decisions. A lot of them are obviously algorithm based or whatever. However they're worked out. Who knows how they're worked out? But they have this option. Now, it's just they have this option to place that reserve on your account, and hence why I've said the importance of cash flow. And when it comes to stuff like this, like because even though I use SumUp now on our website, we use SumUp in our shop as well to take payments. SumUp could also turn around and say, "Hey, we're concerned about you," or whatever. We're worried for whatever reason, and we're going to put a reserve on your account. They could still do that to us. And that really does leave only one method of payment as bulletproof, and that is obviously cash. So it makes me think that I want to implement something, oh gosh, it makes me think I want to have something consistent in our weekly schedule, which revolves around cash payments. So just like selling at fairs, car boots, etc., where you're more likely to take cash. But it's in your terms and conditions, guys. eBay managed payments, they can, as well as holds, they can put a rolling reserve on your account at their discretion. And you might especially I would honestly say, unless obviously it's not a concern for you, but if you're on like the monthly or the weekly or 2-weekly payment plan and you're letting that money build up until you get paid, you are at risk in that time period of, say, if they place a reserve, suddenly not having access to money that you thought you might be getting access to. I don't mind so much on a daily, because obviously if they place a reserve on a day, I will obviously then not have access to the cash for that day, but I would have been paid out the day before. Again, it's about, I really don't like leaving money in with any payment processor. Obviously your bank can get frozen, your bank account can get frozen as well, but having cash, like cash it's important. I really do think so. Let's go into the chat and say a few hellos and see what other people are saying. So we've got Leanne in, Peter Ray, Old Treasure, New Treasure says, PayPal did hold funds. They threw me into a negative. I was verified. It can happen. Why would they need to hold a reserve? They could always claim back from my linked bank account. I thought everyone had a linked bank. Exactly, Barry. It should be linked. It is linked to your bank account. They can take money, but do you know what I mean? It's just a bit controlling. It's putting me off too. I got to go see emails. I did see your email, Dave. Thank you. I'm going to reply to you at some point. I just haven't got around to it today. Antoinette Daly, Leanne's in the chat as well. Barry says, I don't actually use PayPal myself either because eBay managed payment. I still use it to buy and they just take the money from my linked account. I do that every day, Barry. Even today, we use PayPal very, very regularly. Whenever I buy postage on Royal Mail, I use PayPal. Whenever I buy postage on Parcel to Go, we use PayPal. Whenever I make purchases, whenever I make purchases and stuff as well, if I can pay by PayPal, I do, because like you said, my business bank account is linked to my PayPal account, so the money goes through. But it's really, it's something to bear in mind, that this is, that this could happen, and just something to something to bear in mind, and. You still use PayPal. Brum Reseller, thank you for popping in. How are you, man? Thanks for popping in. Paul, I just transfer cash over to PayPal from my managed payment from time to time with no bother. Yeah, PayPal will drive new and existing users off the platform.
How many nugs do you keep in reserve?
Thank you, Nate Dog. How many nugs do I keep in reserve? This is the thing. I need to start keeping some in reserve. This is the thing. Like, I want to keep some cash on me or something. Like Mandy says, cash is king, always will be. This, unfortunately, though, it's not. We're all at risk of this. Like I said, PayPal have just, in my opinion, arbitrarily picked a number out of thin air. I don't see what my history has shown in terms of PayPal transactions, why they feel $800 and whatever dollars is the right number. And the fact that, eBay could also do this on managed payments, it just makes you think, have you got that cash available? Because cash flow is so key. Like, imagine if I was counting on the money, coming in and bam, there's a reserve. It's just something, it's unfactored. But it might not happen to you guys, but I'm just saying, I didn't think it was going to happen to me. And in a weird way, I'm surprised it's happened on PayPal because, like I said, I'm not even really using it. There's no real concern there. There's no, I'm not really taking many, there's been like barely any sales going through on there. It's just crazy. Just, this reserve nonsense is crazy. And the thing is, we're all at their mercy because no one's free. Like, even if I wasn't on eBay, I have to use SumUp. I have to use a provider, and these providers, like a payment processing provider, I have to use a payment processing provider. No matter what my business is, whether it's online, offline, it's irrelevant. You've got to use a payment processing provider. Now, you just need to be aware that these payment processing providers do have the right to just randomly put a reserve on your account, and if they put a reserve on your account, that's it. Like I said, PayPal, if I take any sales into my account now, PayPal are going to take every single one until I've built up $800 and something, and only then will I start seeing money after that. And it's a rolling 800. They want me to keep a minimum of that $800 in their account just in case there's a chargeback. And eBay can do exactly the same using managed payments. They've got exactly the same clause in the terms and conditions. In case you haven't seen it, guys, I'll see if I can bring it out again because I think it's worth looking at, guys. So this is on the eBay website, eBay UK website, reserves. It's there under using managed payments, section 7 of your terms and conditions of managed payments. Reserves are there. They have got the right to put a reserve on your account. So especially if you're someone that gets your eBay sales paid out weekly or monthly, I mean, like in our recent weeks, we've been having some pretty good weeks. If all of a sudden, say for example, this week, eBay decided that we should have £1,000 reserve and they just take $1,000 from me, that'll be quite a blow because I'm looking forward to that money coming into the account because, we turn it over. We're cash, buying stock all the time, buying loads of stock all the time, churning it over. And we need the cash flow. I can't afford to suddenly just have like a massive reserve slapped on like that. It's kind of ridiculous. So I just wanted to make a video about it so more people know So more people know about it. The fact that just because you're not on PayPal doesn't mean anything. To be honest with you, if you use any payment processing provider, you've got to be aware that this can happen to you. So just have some cash, basically. Have some cash. That's like I suppose the moral of this story, I suppose, is just have some cash money, something that you can liquidate into cash. It's important. And see what else people are saying. Again, thank you, Nate Dog, for the £2 super chat. How many nugs you give Reserve? That did make me laugh. And Babs at the Attic as well. Thank you for popping in, Babs. Be careful, Z, you're showing some consistency with your videos. I don't know about that, Susie. I don't know. This was something I did on the spur. I'm trying to just do things on the spur, but who knows? Nicole Stone says, PayPal have randomly held payments each month from my customers' account, always in good standing and never had a case of refund. No longer using as the business is too new to risk the cash flow. Yep, I can completely understand that. Brom Reseller says, cash flow has been a problem for me recently. It can happen so quickly, can't it, John? It can happen very, very quickly. Cash flow is one of those things that you can be feeling flush one moment and suddenly a couple of invoices later, a couple of stock purchases later, your funds have dwindled. And then the last thing you need is to log in and then see that PayPal or eBay or SumUp or Stripe or iZelle, any of those guys can do this. Put a reserve on your account. So have some cash money, man. Like I said, I'm going to start doing something. I think this is kind of prompting me to really pull my socks up when it comes to doing markets, when it comes to doing the car boots, because cash has a value, intrinsic value. Let's see. No offense, always great to see you, but it's Wednesday, right? Says Mandy. I have COVID, so unsure of the day. Mandy, I really hope you recover quickly. I really hope you recover quickly, Mandy. I really hope it's not hitting you too hard. But yes, it is Wednesday, and it's just a random live. I hope you feel better, though. Horrible thing to be going through. Barry says, probably because since eBay stopped using PayPal are probably feeling the pinch of not getting all that money coming in. It's true, Barry, but like I said, eBay also have this clause. That's the whole point of this video, is that eBay have this clause. eBay can put a reserve on your account. So yes. Good evening. I'll rewind and watch you with a 15-minute delay, says an anomalous data point. Vincent Lee says, you need 2 accounts and 2 card machines. Don't be at their mercy. The thing is, though, Vincent, I agree with you. You've got to spread everything, but it's, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can have as many as as long as you're using a card processing company, they can do this. So just because you've got 2, like I've got an iZelle machine as well. I need to sort that out as well. I need to activate that. But they could do it. If you're at the mercy of anyone else, if there is a third, this is the thing. This is why I'm not going to get into it, but this is why things like cryptocurrency are so important. And most people just think cryptocurrency is just like, to the moon and all that nonsense. There's an actual use case for cryptocurrency. This is exactly what cryptocurrency is meant for. Like, you're not at the mercy of a third party. We all have to use third parties for one reason only, and that's a trust thing. It provides trust and it provides backing to your currency. With cryptocurrency, because of the proof of work and because it's a decentralized network, you don't need that middleman type situation. This is where it will come in, where it will flourish, hopefully in the future at some point. But whilst you're at the mercy of these institutions, these third party institutions, it doesn't matter who they are, any of them can just randomly slap on a reserve. So just make sure you got some cash. Judgment Care makes an excellent point. In your opinion, any platform that mandates a reserve should build it slowly. Exactly. Why do it in such a heavy-handed manner? Why do it in such a heavy-handed manner? That's an excellent point by Judgment Care. Like, they could easily say, from now on, we're going to take 30% of all incoming sales. until you reach this reserve. Why do it in such a heavy-handed manner where they're just we're going to take 100% of all your incoming sales, 100% of all your incoming sales until you meet your reserve? I think that's unnecessarily, that's an unnecessary inconvenience. It's an unnecessary thing to put a business under, in my opinion. And Judgment Care, I think that's 100% right. And Susie, yes, you're right. Apologies if you already mentioned this, but didn't this happen to Shazad for like $100,000? Yes, I believe this did happen to Shazad. They did this to Shazad. If you, those of you that don't know, Shazad Hussain, who comes into the chat often, who runs like a pharmacy, does massive turnover on eBay, has the pharmacy business and everything. Again, PayPal, who by the way also fall over themselves to offer him like pre-approved working capitals of tens of hundreds of thousands of pounds. So PayPal were on one hand pre-approving him for hundreds of £1,000s of working capital, then on the other hand they put like a rolling 100 grand reserve on his account. That is even for someone running a business of that size, that's a headache. Suddenly 100 grand goes. I mean, it wasn't a headache for him, I don't think, but it could be a headache, if you know what I mean. Agreed, Z, but if you have more than one, the chance of them all getting reserved are the same. Very true, Vincent, but I think even, definitely do that, but definitely also have cash, is what I would say. Z is going to start hoarding his money in a biscuit tin under his mattress, says Barry. You know what? I want to have some money. It might just be in like a couple of boxes of Evolving Skies or something, or some Flesh and Blood. I don't know. I might do it in a different way. I might do it in a different way. But yeah, I'm going to have... I want to make sure that I've got some form of cash on me, because, this can happen and it's not cool. And I just think that, people need to be aware of it. eBay Managed Payments does have this clause. Any payment processing company will have this clause of being able to place a reserve on your account. So just be aware. Thanks, Z. A whole house down, Red Cross on the door. Oh, gosh. Whole house, Mandy. I really do hope you guys hope no one is too seriously affected, but obviously it is just serious. And just, do what needs to be done, Mandy. And I hope you're feeling better and the whole family's feeling better soon. That, gosh. Mandy, treat the virus early, then treat the inflammation as soon as the virus is stopped. Read up on the stuff, it helps, says Judgment Care. When Moon. Oh gosh, When Moon, exactly, yeah. What is the purpose, Z? Trying to get you to borrow from them so they can get that interest. That is the purpose, Z, trying to get you to borrow from them so they can get that. Maybe Frankie's Finds, I don't know what they've got their reasons. I'm not begrudging, just to clarify, I'm not actually hating on them for doing it. It's their business, and if they feel they need to put a reserve on an account, that's their prerogative. That's completely their prerogative. They're providing a service that I'm using. They've got the right to do this. I just think it's something that we need to be aware of. That's all. Just need to be aware of. How many of us have read the terms and conditions? I only know about that, the reserve being on the term and being in the managed payments terms and conditions, because it was someone that dug it up on one of the eBay forums. I myself did not know. I did not comb through the terms and conditions and figure out, what am I signing up to? Most of us are guilty of signing things without reading the terms and conditions. You have to scroll down and read all these pages. How many of you genuinely can say that you actually take into consideration what you're signing based on every paragraph and clause? Most of us don't. So this is more a video for awareness, I suppose. Just be aware that clause is on your managed payments account. So just be aware of it. So when you've got a month's worth of sales sat there, all it takes is an email from eBay Managed Payments informing you that they're going to put a £2,000 reserve or a £1,000 reserve or any arbitrary number, 500 quid even, whatever. and bam, they can just hold that money for as long as they like. That is what you have signed up for. So just be aware of it is all I'm saying. Just be aware of that fact. It's not like that's not a bad thing that they do this. They've got the right to do this. They've got every right to do this. They're well within their rights to do this. It's their business. They're providing the service. They can put a reserve on if they feel necessary. They're not going to do it to everyone. Who knows why they did it on my PayPal account? Maybe they deem me as some kind of risk. I've not had the best credit history in the past, but I don't think my PayPal has always been like, it's been flawless. Like everything has been flawless, but just be aware that they can place a reserve on your account in an instant. And so if you do let your, one thing I would say is I would personally not have my payments set out to be weekly or monthly. I just wouldn't, because of this risk, because they can just randomly put a reserve on your account. I would just not have that much money build up there. I've always operated the same way with PayPal in the past. I don't trust, I can't trust them. So just my thoughts. The more cash they hold, the more interest they can score. That's the game. Hey, Cola Flipper, how are you? What is it? Brom Reseller, you had me in tears with your music videos. £15. I've watched it about 10 times myself. That was so hilarious. That was actually very, very funny. That lady was like, I don't know whether she wasn't doing it on purpose, but that was amazing. That whole interaction was just very funny. It was almost Alan Partridge-esque. Hey Kathy, how are you? Right. I think that is pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Thank you for everyone that has popped into the yes, Kathy. It was just a short kind of informational video, I suppose, or just be aware that eBay Managed Payments have got in their terms and conditions the right to place a rolling reserve on your account at any time. So don't keep too much money in there. So yeah, I just want to kind of put that out there. I thank you for everyone that's popped in and watched. Hope you found it useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it if you can, and share the information, because I just feel like you shouldn't don't put yourself at unnecessary risk, especially when cash flow is important. Hey Oliverian, how are you? Thank you for popping in. Stephen, but there's no need to be sorry. Yeah. All right, guys. Bye.